Hey everybody, welcome back to Random Conversations. I'm Danielle.
And I'm Noel.
We're here for episode 5. So how you feeling today?
I'm feeling good. Lots to talk about.
Oh, is there? So I usually scroll through Instagram just looking at random things, and I came across this story about a young woman. She went on X to describe a date with a man. She disclosed to the gentleman that she has 6 kids. And the gentleman was like, I don't know about you and your 6 kids, but she's like, well, I have money. I could take care of them and myself. So I'm basically just putting myself out there, putting myself on the market. He didn't really seem to be too pleased with that. I guess the 6 kids kind of scared him. And according to her post, he left her with the bill. He just left her, just sitting there, and she had to pay for the bill. I guess he thought she's independent. She got 6 kids. She could afford it. So, from a male's perspective, because I was wondering, how do males feel about women dating? Well, dating women that have multiple children.
Uh,
6
I mean, well, it's
to be exact. Well, all right. So 3 kids.
I mean, anytime you get into a situation where the other person has kids, it's kind of it gives you pause to really think about it because there's a lot of variables that you need to take into account. Is is the baby daddy involved?
It could have been an ex-husband.
Ex-husband, baby daddy, are they involved? Is it a toxic situation? Could I potentially get myself into something that might cause me physical harm down the road? Is the kid, how is the kid? Is the kid a good kid? Is he a bad kid? I'm gonna have to deal with.
Well, we're not talking about one child. We're talking about multiple children.
Right, but I'm just saying.
Because one child I don't think men will have a problem with, but it's the multiple.
I think it depends.
Like 2 and up.
I think it depends on the age too. Like a man, I think most men will pause if you come into the first date and you say, I have a 6-month-old. And you're like, oh, so I'm going to have to be heavily involved. If I'm dealing with you and I get serious with you, I'm going to have to be heavily involved in raising the kid. And now that man needs to figure out whether or not he's prepared to handle something like that, because that's a very serious thing. So I think in her situation, there was a lot of questions that came to my mind when you told me that. My first question was, are her 6 children all from one individual or from many individuals? She didn't specify that. And I don't know, was that a calculated omission just to make her seem more sympathetic? I don't know. But I think that is important information to know because as a man coming into a date and I know that a woman has 6 children with 3 baby daddies, that might give me pause. I'm like, wait, maybe she has an agenda. Maybe she want baby daddy number 4,
I don't think women go into that with an agenda of getting a next baby father. I mean, she disclosed that she has everything under control, right?
Well, that's what she's telling us.
She's not, well, take her for her word. Say if she does have everything under control, she's just looking for a partner. She's not looking for another dad for her children.
I can't see a situation where a woman has children and she's dealing with someone on a serious level to the point where, okay, things escalate. We're living together now. Those kids live in the house and you don't want me to do anything with the children.
It's not like she doesn't want to, it's not like she doesn't want you to do anything for the children or with the children. It's the fact that she has everything under control. If you were to get up and leave today, she's still going to be okay.
No,
she just wants that companionship. And if you want to do something with the children, then by all means, do anything you want with the children.
I think if it ultimately goes down the marriage route, I would have to have an intimate relationship with the children, and I would have to be heavily involved with the children.
Yeah, but she's saying that in the beginning so it doesn't scare you, because a lot of men get intimidated and scared when a woman says, oh, I have 5 kids or I have 6 kids. They get intimidated. So in order to ease that, she's saying, well, I do have everything under control. I make my own money. I make sure those kids are taken care of. She didn't say if the dad was still in the picture, but at least you know that she is okay. And she's not looking for somebody to give her money or to take her kids somewhere. She's not looking for that. She ain't say that.
I don't know. You got to think about it from a dude's perspective. There's a lot of women out here that like to monetize their children. They like to weaponize their children. Case in point, Ant Edwards just had a recent situation where he got someone pregnant in Georgia, and she was trying to get the child support benefits of a person as if the baby was born in L.A. Right?
Mm-hmm. That's little baby's baby mama.
Right. So, there are women out there who are calculating, and they don't necessarily have to be dealing with an NBA player
Well, look at
or someone of a major
Ant Edwards
stature.
he wasn't taking that lady serious. She just ended up pregnant.
Right, but not every
So
man.
that's on him. That's on him.
Not every man goes into a relationship thinking that it's going to end in marriage. Sometimes you want to take a wait and see where it goes approach. You're not against marriage.
Because he
You're
already
not
was
against
with
any of
his
these
current,
things.
Isn't the lady that he takes seriously? That's his fiance, or is that just his girlfriend?
That's a fool. But anyway, I like she's crazy. Because I mean, we
She
could
is
get a little bit
crazy,
off topic, but I don't know if you saw the video that
No, because
Edwards just had on Instagram, where he was talking to another woman.
And he's like, "Can I talk to my hoe in peace?" or
Yeah,
something like
he
that.
was talking to a girl that he flew out to see him, and she
Yeah.
was saying that, yo, I'm imported. I'm supposed to be priority, right? And he's like, you over here looking at these local chicks.
And he's like, she looks good.
Yeah, and then they start talking about this one chick in particular, and he's saying she's pretty, and she was like, yeah, but look at her ass. Her ass don't sit right. And he was like, her pretty. He said her face is pretty as fuck. He said she fine as fuck, right?
Yeah.
So, and he's out here just talking about women like that. Now, the woman sitting next to him is okay with that. She's 100% okay with the fact that he's talking to other women. She's 100% okay with the fact that he's sleeping with other women. Women like that, your radar has to come up, because it's like, why are you dealing with me? What can I, in the back of my mind is like, what can I do for you? Because clearly I'm not exclusive to you. So what is it that you want from me? Or what do you think you can get out of me? Right? And a lot of these women, they want to get a baby. And they want to have 18 years, 21 years of child support payments. They want to be taken care of in that way. They don't necessarily like you. They don't necessarily care about you. They care about what you can do. So when you go into situations,
before you end up sleeping with this person with no protection, you have to do a long, extensive relationship or research on this person, make sure that that's not their mindset.
you should.
But most of these men don't.
Especially
and that's how these girls get pregnant, and that's how they get caught up.
Especially the young athletes, because the thing is, you have access to have just about any woman that you want.
Well,
so you're growing up and you're watching these women on Instagram, and all of a sudden they're accessible to you, and they're knocking your door down, right? And so the temptation is just so crazy.
They have so many symposiums about these type of things when young athletes get into the league. They have symposiums, and they have topics based off of this situation. Don't get caught up, and most of them still get caught up. That's on them. You can't really blame the woman. Yeah, you
could definitely blame the woman, because she came in there with an agenda.
For child support in LA. Let her do that, because he knew damn well what he was doing.
Well, you can blame the woman.
What she was doing.
She came in there with an agenda. She had a plan.
And
she schemed,
executed
and she plotted. And it's just a shame
now
that
she got 2 rich baby daddies.
It's a shame that a lot of us are so easily manipulated in that way. A fat ass could make you just lose all sense of reason. And I don't think he cares. I think because he's young and he's making so much money, and he just assumes that money's going to keep rolling in.
It'll take one bad injury to end his whole career.
He doesn't understand how short-lived his NBA career could be. And just to go back to what we were talking about originally, this is the type of things that goes through a man's head when he's dealing with a woman with multiple
situation. I'm pretty sure
children.
This lady is not in her early 20s.
We don't know this woman. We just have to look at the post at face value, and then we're extrapolating what we think, her intentions are. And you're asking, from a male perspective, would that be an issue for me? Would that even register for me that she had 6 children? And then would that have been an issue? For me, that would have been an issue, because I don't want to, me personally, I came on the date to deal with you. Now you're giving me new information on the date. This is not like you're on whatever dating app and it's you and your 6 kids sitting on the couch, and you like, and he swiped on that picture. He probably saw her. He thought she looked good. He swiped on it. They connected. They go on a date. And now she's like, oh, before we go any further, I got 6 kids. Now,
she should have put that on her profile.
Right. I mean, well, you don't have to put it on your profile, but
you should.
If you have any preliminary text messages or whatever before the date, it should be said. But at least she said it on the first date,
yeah.
Right? It should be something disclosed fairly early, because you don't want to get any deeper into it, start getting feelings involved, and then you realize
The way he handled it was wrong. He shouldn't have got up and left.
Yeah, I agree with that. He shouldn't have left the check. She got 6 mouths to feed. What was to say? He should have paid.
Pay for
yeah,
you too.
yeah. Now she had 7 that night. He should have paid for that and then just told her. Me personally,
Be a gentleman about
if she
it.
told me she has 6 children, I would have continued to date. It would have been a lovely date. And then at the end of it, because I wouldn't have wanted to kill the energy right there. I'm like, okay, you can't just be like, I got 6 kids. Like, I'm not feeling that. And then the rest of the night, you just sitting there eating quietly. Like, no, I would have just carried on a conversation, had a good time, and then just let her know towards the end of the night when I'm taking her home. I'm like, it's 6 kids might be it's a little bit too much for me, right? But to walk away and leave her with the bill, that's crazy work. I don't agree with that.
I just feel that if she is telling you she has everything down packed and it's together and you don't have to worry about being somebody that has to help her with these 6 kids, give it a shot. You never know.
Well, you got to think of it this way too. There's other women that he could be going on a date with now that don't have 6 children.
It could be other areas that he liked about her, and he could have gave her a chance.
Look, I'll personalize this because I feel that some women can be a little bit delusional about it. Like they don't understand. Like, I got this good job, I got so many degrees. So what if I have 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 children? Right? I got it together. I don't need you to take care of them. Whatever. Me, I had my son when I was 21 years old, my oldest. After things didn't work out with me and his mother, I had worries and concerns that I might not be able to find something serious with someone else because they might look at me with my son and not accept him and ultimately not want to deal with me on that type of level. So me personally, that's how I looked at it. And I feel that it's irresponsible to yourself if you're not assessing your situation and being realistic that some people might just not be ready to take on that type of responsibility.
Yeah, but I feel it's easier for men to have all these kids than it is for women.
It is
because
easier.
There's some women that deal with men that have 3 or 4 kids and they're okay with it. Look at Cam Newton. Look at Ocho Cinco.
Yeah, but still having kids for these men. But you're looking at rich men.
Yeah, but
right, there's a difference.
With regular men.
There are, and I think it's because the line.
And it wouldn't even matter if they're rich. If you come in with if you're a man, you have 6 kids. I'm like, yeah, you might, maybe. Let me not, because then it sounds like a double standard. So keep going.
I mean, it is a double standard. You could totally call that out. That's fine. There's double standards in almost everything we're going to be talking about. But so
if women could overlook the fact that a man has all these children, I think it should be vice versa.
No, but women have certain standards that they want met too in choosing a partner. So why can't a man have his standards in choosing a partner? You can't have it both. You can't have it just your way. If he doesn't want that, he's entitled to that opinion. He's entitled to have
even
his
if you
preference.
like this person, the only negative flaw is that they have all these children. You're just gonna end it like that?
He's entitled to his preference because some things might seem small to you, but might seem large to someone else, right? So there's no way for you to quantify how he's feeling about that situation, right? So like that is a deal breaker for him. It might not be a deal breaker for you, but something that might be a deal breaker for you might not be a deal breaker for him. So you have to respect it. There's somebody for everybody. He gonna
look back like, damn, I know she had all them kids, but she was the best one.
Like my friend told me, there's a lid for every pot. So she'll find somebody that'll be comfortable taking on her 6 children. It's a very small pool compared to if she had no children, but she'll find somebody. But yeah, that's where I'm at with it.
Okay. Another story that I saw while doing my scrolling online, a doctor was talking about how she voluntarily gives women the husband stitch after giving birth to children, right? My friend here didn't know what a husband stitch was, right? So I explained it to him, and he was like, oh, wow, they do that? Yeah, they do that. So how do you feel about, I know you never asked for it.
No.
But how do you feel about men coming up to their wife's OBGYN and asking them to, stitch it up a little bit tighter?
I think that's a violation.
It is.
Right? Because you're not getting consent from the woman, right? You're altering her body without even her knowledge, And the thing is, the idea behind it is you're tightening up the vagina so that it's tighter, so it's theoretically going to be more pleasurable for the man, but in some instances it's not more pleasurable, and it's definitely not that woman is not going to be able to have pleasurable sex while her vagina is sewn up like that. She would have to get it repaired. So it's a completely selfish act, and anything that has to do with body mutilation, and you take the person who's being affected out of the decision making process, I'm not down with that. I feel that any husband that would do that to their wife is just an asshole, and I feel bad for that woman because he don't really love you, right?
Yeah.
And the doctors that would do that crazy shit, because I was looking into it, and it's not something that's taught in schools. It's not. There's no medical benefit to doing it. It's just something that it's a practice. It's not widespread, but it's a practice that's done typically and solely just for the man's pleasure. And it's just weird to me that a doctor who takes an oath not to hurt and to
isn't
help
that
his
like a
patients would
HIPAA
do something like
violation?
that. I don't know if it's a HIPAA violation, but
Because
it's an ethics
it's
violation.
the woman's doctor, and you coming in as
But
an
that's crazy.
outsider.
You said so. What's crazy, and I heard it.
And
when
some
you
doctors
said it,
take it upon themselves to do something like that.
right. When you said it,
Like,
when
wink,
you
wink, I
said
got
the story, when you told me it, you said that it was a female doctor that was doing
I
it
think
voluntarily,
it was a female doctor
and that's
who said
crazy. I hate whenever I see that where you see like a woman would do that to another woman, and you know what you're doing to this person. It made me think about female circumcision and how women in these tribes will hold down these young girls and do that mutilation to them. It's crazy. I don't know what goes on in the minds of some of these people. Their minds are just so warped. But to do something like that, I can't stand by that. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, well, it's vile and it's foul.
Mhm.
For
And any
anybody
doctor who
thinks
practices that, any doctor who does that they should lose their license to practice medicine. Because
and
is
then
crazy.
the poor wife or the mother of your children is sitting there not knowing what the hell's going on,
Mhm.
and you guys are like in the backgrounds making all these decisions over her body.
Yeah, you snickering and you winking at each other and whatnot, and she don't know what the hell is going on. She can't feel it because
Crazy.
she has the epidural.
She'll feel it later.
Right. But then when she all healed up and you ready to go, and all of a sudden she's
Why
like, what
is
the
it
hell?
like this? Yeah.
She's like, it's like the first time every time. It's just like it's crazy. Like that's crazy.
Yeah, I just found that to be a little bit insane. The things that you see on the internet and the things that people disclose is just horrible.
Oh, but the more you know. So I'm hoping that women look at this episode and they see this, because I
It's
knew
a
nothing
thing,
about it,
'cause
and I'm
I
pretty
didn't
sure
know
there's a
anything
bunch of
about
women
it.
that don't know anything about it, and there's definitely some douchebag guys out there that will do that to their woman. So, beforehand, if you're going into, deliver a baby, maybe have a conversation with the doctor, or have someone in the room with you that you trust. I wouldn't even have had,
Like your mom. or
yeah, I
something
wouldn't
like
even
that.
have had the opportunity to do something like that, because both times my wife's mother was present for our first son's birth, and this and then the second birth with my daughter, it was a midwife that delivered the baby, so it was, and
She not gonna do that.
well, you said it was a woman too,
Well,
but
doctors.
yeah, she was ethical and she wasn't gonna do nothing like that. But I would have never even thought to do something like that in the first place. That's crazy.
Always have other people other than, you could trust them, but you don't know.
Don't they
what's
have a
going on.
vagina rejuvenation?
Yeah, they do.
Procedure.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, what is that?
I'm not sure what it is. I'm not gonna sit here and tell you what it is because I don't want anybody saying, "Oh, she's wrong." But it's supposed to rejuvenate the vagina. It's supposed to do what it's supposed to do.
Turn back the clock.
Exactly. So you don't need a husband stitch. There's other ways. There's other avenues in order for you to get it back to what it was. Totally switching gears. Noah Lyles. I know he probably, if he ever sees this, he's gonna think, "Oh, they just some big haters. Why am I why am I getting brought up again?" So he backed out of his race with Tyreek Hill, and Tyreek Hill, for those who don't know, is an NFL player. I don't know if he's on a team right now, but he's
in the
considered.
Dolphins.
He's still with the Dolphins. I thought he left. So he made a bet with Noah Lyles that he could beat him in a race. And the race, I think, was supposed to be upcoming. It was supposed to be sometime this month?
I think so, but I'm not 100% sure. But I know they were supposed to race.
Actually, I think Noah saw him do a race. Was it against Speed?
He did a race. He did a real race.
He did a
it
real
was
race.
It was with a few runners.
Oh, okay.
And
Speed
he
was,
won.
you know who Speed is, right?
Yeah,
that
the streamer. Yeah. Speed ran against Ashton.
Yeah, that dude, that big buff dude.
And he beat him 4 times in a row. That was funny.
Yeah.
And he just wouldn't admit that he lost. It was embarrassing.
Anywho, back on topic.
Mm-hmm.
So Tyreek Hill is considered the fastest person in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
So the fastest person in the NFL, you got to race one of the fastest people in the world, right? That's gonna bring in viewers. That's gonna.
Well, Tyreek Hill always talking shit.
But he's very fast, though.
He's fast.
They call him Cheetah. That's how fast he is.
And he's one of the few NFL players that has like real track speed.
Mm-hmm.
The race that you're talking about that he ran just the other day, he ran I think 100 meters in 10.15 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
So and then after he ran the race, he put a letter up basically saying he challenged Noah,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then Noah backed out. The reason why I wanted to talk about it is because this guy is going on every platform he could get on to complaining about how he doesn't have a signature shoe. And he's complaining about other athletes and how they have signature shoes, but they
But do you think this is a step forward to him getting that signature shoe? I don't think this would have done anything, to be honest.
No, I think he would have got more eyes on that race than in the Diamond League, because first of all, the Diamond League is a very like track and field is very niche. The only time it really gets a lot of eyeballs is during the Olympics, right? But everybody knows Tyreek Hill. Everybody, and he's a public figure too. Well, not everybody, but a lot of people know Tyreek Hill enough that they would have got enough eyeballs, especially just
from the NFL world.
Yeah, just a one-on-one race, it would have got eyeballs. And it would have done him good if he would have been able to dust him. But it showed me by him backing out that he's scared to lose.
Yeah.
Right?
Because what if he did lose?
If he did lose, he could forget about his signature shoe. Because you lost an NFL player, not some track star. Right? And the thing is, he's looking at other track runners who've had signature shoes, and he's like, why not me? I'm an Olympic champion.
Name the other track runners that have signature
Usain
shoes.
Bolt has a signature shoe. Michael Johnson from the 90s had a signature shoe, but they used to dominate. Every time they got on the track, you knew who was going to win, and they won in dominating fashion. He's winning by like tenths of a second.
By a toe.
Yeah, Bolt was winning by seconds. You know what I'm saying? He was looking at the camera and like slowing up. He still ran the fastest time, but he could have probably been a couple of tenths of a second even faster had he not slowed up to look at the cameras to get that iconic picture that we all know, right? So he's just not that ilk when it comes to the type of athlete he is. He's not on that pedestal, and he has to understand that. He should just be happy that Adidas is sponsoring him and he's getting any type of money from them. A signature shoe is just not in the cards.
Yeah, not for now. And the thing is, he's only getting older. The Olympics is last year? And I think he's almost 30. So he has about 2 more Olympics.
1 to 2.
Yeah, before it slows down, because after track and field is what?
Nothing.
Nothing. It's like, I don't know how they make their money.
Yeah, especially him, because he's not likable. I'm sorry.
So he has to tread lightly if he wants to stay around and actually provide, because I believe he's getting married fairly soon. His fiance, we're not really familiar with her either. She was, but it's like, is she going to be one of those that dominates? Is she going to be a Shelly Ann Fraser Price? We don't know.
Yeah, but their kid might be fast as hell.
Their kid, but that's 20 years from now.
That's fine.
They going to wait? It looks like Noah wants to be it right now. That's his mindset.
Well, you know what? There's something to be said about having self-confidence. He's confident in himself. He thinks his idea of himself is a lot bigger and grander than people actually think of him. But I don't know if that's necessarily a bad thing. But if you start talking stuff on social media, you leave yourself open for people to cast their opinions about what you're saying. So,
and that's what certain people don't get. Look at Anthony Edwards. Back to him again with that whole statement that he made in the car with the girl.
Yeah, he'll never be the face of the league.
Not acting like that.
No, he can't walk that back. because he's talking about the way
He said.
the way he's talking about. He's like, I
said,
can't talk to my.
I can't talk to my hoes.
I was like, yo,
Yeah.
he-
He said to, oh, my mouth smoky or something like that.
he's out
Like,
he's out of control.
These athletes, some of them are crazy.
And I'm pretty sure
John Moran
somebody-
slowed down.
Yeah, John Moran slowed down, but it's like I'm pretty sure other athletes and people would probably try to talk to him about,
Yeah.
like you could talk. Like if he's talking like that amongst his friends in a private setting, that's fine. But you're putting it.
He
out.
recorded it. It looks like he recorded
You're
it.
putting it out on social media for people to digest, and it's almost like he's like, I don't want to be the face of the league. It's like Charles Barkley where he said, I'm not a role model,
Yeah.
right? And I think that's the type of attitude
Same thing that
he
KD
wants.
said.
Yeah, that's the type of attitude that he wants to put out there because he doesn't want to be put on a pedestal. He just wants to make hundreds of millions of dollars
And
playing
hopefully win
basketball,
championships.
and that's it. But for his sake, I hope he keep making money. I hope he has a long career because the way he knocking down these women
He got like, what,
knocking
3 or 4 kids already?
and knocking them up.
Huh?
All in like the same year.
That's
Yeah.
insane.
He's moving too fast. He's moving too crazy.
He's gonna be like, well, Nick Cannon, at least he shows his baby mother's respect.
Yeah, and he even though he says he's there for his kids, I mean, you have all them kids. Ain't no way you there for them in the way that they need you to be.
You talking about Nick?
But yeah, but he does try to. He does his best.
Did
right?
you see-
This guy don't even want to be. He tried to pay the girl to go away. He was like, let me
Yeah.
just pay all the child support one shot, and I don't want to see you. And it's like, what kind of like I can't get behind a dude like that because for me, family
He's gonna
and kids.
regret it.
Yeah, family and kids is of the utmost important. The kids didn't ask to be brought into this world, right?
But you gotta blame the women too.
Yeah, no, the women for sure.
They
but
have to share the blame.
right, the women. It take 2 to make a baby, but he didn't wrap up. He could have had. I don't understand. I'm like, just get a vasectomy. You can have all the sex you want, right?
But he's too
It's-
young. Well,
it's reversible. Just do
he
your
got a
thing.
lot of kids
like,
now,
do
so.
whatever you want to do after that. But they just want to. I don't get it. You have all these kids scattered all over the place. You know,
making all these broken homes.
right? And how they gonna grow up? My daddy don't love me. What kind of person you think that kid is gonna grow up to be? You know, we just perpetuating stereotypes and whatnot. You got to do better.
Yeah.
You got to do better. I want him to do better because I think I like him. I think he's charismatic and whatnot.
He is.
Right.
He's
but,
funny too, from
right.
what I hear.
But he got to do better. Like, you got to do better, man. I
And
know
the
you're
women-
23.
The women should have made better decisions.
Those women had agendas. And it
Yeah,
goes,
but
it goes back.
obviously, like they don't see from they don't look at the precedent. Look at other women that has happened to. They
Mm-hmm.
think, oh, I'm sleeping with this athlete, I got pregnant. You're not gonna ride off into the sunset. Half the time, you're not gonna get the money that you think you're gonna get. So what makes you think you're different from the others?
But they getting more money than they would ever see in their life.
Exactly.
Yeah, but-
he tried to offer her 1.8
But then you're
million
gonna
dollars.
continue to fight this man for more money?
Then
It's more money than you ever see in your life.
Yeah, but you're still gonna fight this man for more money. Look at Jimmy Butler's baby mother.
but she's
fighting
out of
him
control.
she's fighting
because
him
she's
from. That's the thing. Like
he's giving her like what, $50,000 a month or something like
55.
that. $55,000 a month for how many kids?
3.
Right. And the thing is,
I think
Child
I'm
support-
not putting
well, I
myself
don't
in
know-
that
I don't know
predicament. If that was me,
the
would have got
laws.
an abortion.
well, I mean, some women don't
You're
think
not
like
gonna
that.
put me through that. And I'm not gonna fight you either. I have other shit to do.
Well, there's a lot of, but the thing is, there's a lot of athletes who have children out of wedlock, and a lot of those situations you don't even know about, but they're getting paid. There's only some situations where it comes to.
No, you're gonna have to
rises
love
to
my
the
child
level.
out loud. I'm sorry. It's not gonna. Yeah, you giving me money, but that's your child.
There's also a part of it to look. There's also a way to look at it like they wanted children anyway. So it's like you give me a child, I get someone with NBA DNA. Like, you know when certain women.
That's just embarrassing.
You know when
I'm
certain,
sorry.
you know how certain women like say they don't have a man or whatever, so they have to go the sperm donation route. They don't just pick any random sperm from any random dude. If they have the money, they're choosing like the top of the line.
Yeah,
like,
but then
who
you're
does this
sharing
belong
your
to?
kid with multiple others.
Right, but they're not worried about that. You thinking you're thinking really deep about it, and it's a good thing that you think like that because it shows that you're not like some of these other women. But some of these other women aren't thinking that deep. They're thinking about how much money I'm getting out of it. You know, I'm having a child because that child could
When
grow up to
graduation time comes around and your kid's about to graduate, but his other 4 kids about to graduate, he's gonna skip somebody's graduation. Look at Nick Cannon.
they're not worried about that.
Listen,
They're not worried about that.
The father of my child's gonna have to be there. I'm sorry. I don't care.
They're not worried
Find
about
a
that.
way.
They're not worried about that. It's
And
unfortunate.
that's crazy. That's crazy
unfortunate.
because I'm pretty sure the child will want their dad to be there.
You know what I think about every time I see these situations? I always think about people who can't have kids, but they desperately want kids, and they would be the best
I don't
parents,
think
but they
these women
can't.
desperately wanted
Well,
kids.
I'm not talking about them. I'm saying I'm thinking about those people who can't have kids, and all they want to do is have a kid. And then you have these women and these guys that run around here behaving the way that they're behaving, and you know you have these kids that are just not going to get the life that they deserve.
I just want my child to be a priority.
Mhm.
And not share them and have to share the spotlight with like 12 other kids. Did you see there was an interview the other day that Nick Cannon had? And somebody asked him to name all his kids. He missed 2 of them.
Because he got like 10.
12.
Yeah.
Like, imagine the mother of that child, right? But you put yourself in that predicament because you knew this man had plenty of kids before you even got into the picture.
Nah, Nick Cannon is out of control, but there's dudes out there that feel that.
And he's using his sickness as a way to he's saying, "Oh, I'm sick. That's why I'm having all these kids."
Yeah, but these
It's a
wo-
way to pacify the reason as to having all these children.
But these women are also agreeing to it as well.
That's the
They're
thing.
they're
like,
completely down.
Does
with,
Nick
with the
Cannon have
situation.
all that money to share around?
Yes,
Other
he
than
has-
wilding out, he probably has.
But
He's probably investing in some stuff. but
He has more money than the average dude running around here. Enough to take
don't
care of
know.
those kids, but it's not all about
'cause
money.
if you're
It's
the
like I tell
father of
people
my
all the
kid and I
time.
call you and you can't come and do what I need you to do because you have to mind your other 10 kids, I'm gonna be pissed.
But that's the situation you signed up for. I can see if you baby mama number 1 and you're like, oh,
Mariah
I'm
don't
number
have to
2.
worry about that.
But if you baby mama,
Mariah
number-
has Nick
yeah, like-
Cannon. She has Nick Cannon wrapped around her finger.
well, Mariah got her own money.
That too. But I'm pretty sure if Mariah calls, she takes precedence over all them other baby mothers.
Well, I don't know.
She does.
I don't know their situation. I
She
think
does.
I think the only reason why she might take precedence is because of her public figure status, and then if he's being
And he
if he's
actually
being
married her.
Yeah, if he's being an asshole to her, is gonna make front page news. It's gonna be on
He
all the
actually
blogs
married
and all
her.
that stuff.
So I
So-
feel like she takes precedence off
He's worth
50
50 million.
million. I feel like she takes precedence after all the others or over all the others. So
Well, I don't know because people get married. Sometimes they get married for the wrong reasons. You know, and then it's over, right? They got divorced. So that's not to say that he probably has love for her, but that don't mean that his love for her is stronger than his love for his most recent baby mama.
I don't know. I think
know.
he's just having kids with all these women just to have kids with all these women
Yeah, but there's
because he hasn't settled down with not one of them.
there's an ideology out there. There's a lot of dudes that think that, you know, it's a great thing to have children, and the more children you have, the better. Me, I'm a type of dude that I never wanted to have more children that I could afford because I wanted to provide them with a certain
So you're
type of
basically
life and lifestyle.
You're paralleling kids with money.
You can't have, and that's the thing that kills me when you have like 5-6 kids but you live in a 1-bedroom apartment. It's like at some point you're being irresponsible. It's like it all comes down to money. We live in New York City. We complain about the rent. We complain about the groceries. We complain about public transportation. We complain about fare
Yeah, you out
hikes,
here having all these
and
children.
all that stuff. And then you out here having all these children, and it's like, you know, it's just irresponsible.
I don't know. I take it from a personal standpoint. Like if a man has all these kids, he can't be there for all of them. I don't care about the
Right.
money. You have to be there for them.
Right, and that's
Money
my
is
thing.
good. You can have the money, but if you're not physically there when that child needs you, what's the point?
Well, I agree with that because I always tell people all the time, money is not an indication of happiness. Some of the saddest people in the world are some of the richest people in the world. So if you're looking at money, if you're just looking at money, if you're looking at happiness from a money standpoint, you're looking at life completely wrong way.
I forgot what I was gonna say.
But we're in agreement. But my whole thing is, from my standpoint, a man shouldn't have more children than he can afford. He shouldn't have more children than he can pay attention to, right? And properly love. My oldest son isn't, he wasn't a product of my marriage. My younger two children are, and almost every decision I make, he figures into it. Again, New York City is an expensive place to live. And had I not had him, I probably wouldn't live here today, right? But he's here, and I'm not moving hundreds of miles away and having to just speak with him over FaceTime. Like, I want to be there for everything. So that factors into my decision making when it comes to like kids. That's the type of man that I am. I'm not just out here trying to have 6, 7, 8 kids just to say I got 6, 7, 8 kids. It don't make sense. That's just stupid mentality to me.
And I don't know why men would think that's a flex.
They be flexing all the time.
me,
They
that's
flex
not a
about how many
flex.
baby mamas they got.
Yeah.
So I got like 3, 4 baby mamas. Like
Yeah,
that
like,
just
are
make
you there?
Yeah, like you
Yeah,
just
you give the money, but are you there?
you just keep making mistake after mistake after mistake. It just shows that you're a man that doesn't learn any lessons. He doesn't learn from his mistakes.
Yeah, that's not a flex to me. So Tyler Perry has been in the news lately. He's being sued by. Was this man a part of any shows that he had?
Yeah, he was a part of the show called The Oval.
Oh, okay. So he's being sued by this gentleman for sexual abuse. And a lot of people are like, they're not shocked, which I find.
What's his name?
Let me look up his name. But a lot of people are not shocked by it, which I find kind of crazy because I don't think Tyler Perry has a malicious bone in his body.
Well, I don't know Tyler Perry. I didn't know he came out as openly gay. I don't think he did. So
Doesn't he have a child? I believe Tyler Perry has a
a
son.
lot of gay men got children. But,
I know that, but
No, but that's what struck me. That's what struck me first. The fact that this allegation was coming from a man. Yeah, Derek Dixon. Tyler Perry wanted to be with him. If you read the text messages, he kept trying to get with him, and the guy kept deflecting. Like, you can see he was deflecting in the text messages. But once you read the text messages, I didn't get the gist that Tyler Perry was trying to use his position and his status to get this man. Because if you read the text messages, he's like giving him life lessons, and he's trying to help him out with his career and stuff like that by giving him advice, not saying I'm gonna put you in this, I'm gonna put you in that.
if you do X, Y, Z.
He's just talking to him and trying to impart lessons to him. So
This
that's
is why when victims come out, people don't believe them because of situations like this. Look at the evidence that has come out.
Well, that's the problem. You should when something like
He needs some more concrete evidence for us to believe that he was being sexually abused.
well, when something like this happens, I tend to hold judgment. The problem with society today is that
With
you hear
who?
something.
the accuser.
Yeah, I hold you. I'm not believing anybody at first. Right? I think it's wrong-minded to just pick a side from the first thing that you digest about the situation. A lot of people don't even look into the court documents. They don't look at the evidence and stuff like that. They just look at headlines and they automatically make whatever they make a decision based off of what they believed or what their friends believe or what society is telling them to believe at that particular time. Me personally, after reading the text messages is why I don't think Tyler Perry did what this guy's alleging that he did. I didn't look at it and say, oh, Tyler Perry doesn't seem like that type of person, so I don't think he did that. A lot of people are taking that kind of stance. I'm like, how well do you know Tyler Perry? You don't know him at all. You know him that he liked to dress up like an old lady and he does comedy movies. That's about the extent to which you know this man, right? And I just hate when people look at social media, you look at their pages and you think you know this person. Everything they post is calculated. They have PR people, everything is vetted. Some of these pages, they don't even run themselves, right?
Yeah, they have people running their
Right.
pages for them.
So it drives me crazy when people make these statements like as if they know them, like they're family members or whatnot. I'm like, you don't know this person. He could have did it. But that's how I just wait and I wait to see. I need to see
Innocent
more and more.
until proven guilty.
Right,
And
that's how
right
it's
now
supposed
he's
to
not
be.
being proven guilty
That's how it's
based
supposed to
off
be.
if that's the evidence that he wants to provide, people are not
Yeah,
I'm like, what incriminating
Hmm.
did he say in those text messages? There's nothing there.
all it did was confirm what some people believed, that Tyler Perry was homosexual, which is, I don't know. It's
I
not.
don't even think that
It's not really. It's not really an issue. It confirmed it for me, and I think it confirmed it for a lot of people. He's over there talking about. He sent the guy a picture, and he's like, "What do you think about the picture?" And the guy's like, "It's a nice picture." And he's like, "What you talking about? A nice picture? Don't you see that stud in the picture?" Like, who says that?
He
Who
could
says
be
that?
joking.
No. Who jokes like that? Don't nobody joke like that. Don't nobody joke like that. Nobody joke like that.
Okay.
If I got a friend that joke like that, we gotta have a conversation. I'm like, yo, is that a joke? Like, what?
You gonna call him up?
Explain
It
the
could've been a
thought
joke.
process. Explain the thought process. Like, I don't get it. I don't
It's like
get it.
your friend calling you up just to tell you good night.
But if you see more of the sex messages, he's like encouraging him to come out as gay, because it seems like he's given the impression that he's kind of closeted, and he's giving him experiences from. He's talking about experiences that his friend Tyler Perry's talking about experiences his friends has had, and he's saying that, basically to live a life like that is not good. He's like, you should
Just be
be you, be yourself. Which is funny coming from him, because he wasn't like showing up to red carpets with his boyfriends and nothing like that. You know what I'm saying? He was just so. I'm like, now he's out. He's
He could do it
he
this
got pushed
month.
out. He got pushed out of the closet.
He could do it this
So,
month. It's Pride Month.
Part of me thinks that he tried to blackmail him too with those text messages. Since he wasn't out, he was like, "Yo, I'll post these text messages if you don't pay me." But Tyler Perry,
Now he's suing him for like $200 million, I believe.
Yeah, I don't think he's gonna get it.
No.
I think it ends in a settlement though, like everything else. Only because they don't want to drag.
That's why
this
you
out
got to
in the
be
public.
$260 million. That's why you got to be so careful in who you tell your business to and who you confide in, because those same people that will blackmail you and use everything against you.
That's the thing. Once you get a certain
You
level
could be
of
rich as
success,
hell and smart like Tyler Perry and still get caught up.
yeah, because love is love, right? Everybody get caught. When it comes to
love that man.
But I mean, the way he was talking to him though, it was like he probably wasn't in love with him, but he cared for him. The way he was talking to him, like imparting all this knowledge and all that stuff, it wasn't like a booty call. It felt more than that. It felt a little more than that. Maybe he just that type of person. Some people fall in love quick. They fall in love easy. Maybe he's like that. I don't know.
I don't take that as love. It's just him giving him words of advice. You put somebody under your wing like you're a mentor.
Yeah, but if I was talking to a woman, I don't know if I would be
Well, that's
so invested in her life if I'm not invested in her. You know what I'm saying? It would be very surface level, kind of superficial in the way that we talking to one another. Like, I don't know if I would be like,
Well, that's you. You never know. People are different.
right, but I can only give you my perspective.
I know that. Okay. So Whoopi Goldberg, I had sent you a story about Whoopi going on The View, and Whoopi's at this stage where she's gonna say whatever she feels like, and she doesn't care who takes offense to what. So she likened the Black experience to how people are living in Iran. She said, we don't have it no different from the people that are living in Iran right now. So what did you feel about that? How did you feel about that statement? I feel like we have it a little bit better than the folks living in Iran, especially now.
I think we have it a little better if we're looking at it from 2025 lens, right? Just this year in particular.
Maybe she feels like with
if you're talking historically,
with this administration, she feels like a lot of things are being reversed.
Yeah, but I feel
like
like
we're going backward down like a hill.
Well, we'll see. We'll see. So far, there hasn't been outside of the immigration situation. There hasn't been too much crazy change yet. I think everybody is looking. As soon as Trump got in office, it's been the sky's falling kind of attitude, right? So I think people need to just observe, right? But specifically to speak to what Whoopi was saying, I think I don't agree with her statement. I understand her statement, but I don't agree with it. Right now in 2025, those people are afraid to walk down the street because they might think there's a real possibility that a missile might drop on their head, a building might fall on their family, right? The situation for women out there is terrible. And Whoopi sitting on The View, as a black woman, a rich, affluent black woman for decades now, it speaks to the progress in our country. The fact that she could sit there on that TV show and criticize our government, right? And be able to go on TV the next day and continue to collect that check and continue to criticize what she feels needs to be criticized shows that living in America in 2025 for black people isn't as bad as living in Iran at the same time.
She out there, she talking her shit.
At the same time, do we have to worry about our black boys and girls in the street when it comes to police relations? Yes. Is there racism? Yes. But I think
not to the extent.
Yeah, not to the extent of what's going on over there in Iran. Yeah. Now, if you want to talk historically, I mean, it's like the Spider-Man meme. Both countries looking at each other. You don't know what, because the atrocities that happen here.
A lot of foreign interference.
It's in our history. Our history is embarrassing. The American history is very savage in certain parts. And so we really can't look at any nation from a historical standpoint and say that we are better from a humanitarian standpoint, because the way black people were treated in this country historically speaks volumes to the atrocities and whatnot. But yeah, the situation of women in Iran is dire, right?
Yeah,
they can't walk down if their ankles are showing is a problem, right? They're not educated in the same way that men are.
But they're fighting for it.
Mm-hmm.
They're fighting for it, which is a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
So they've come some ways as well.
Yeah, but I mean, it's just that whole region is just in a constant state of conflict and war. It doesn't. There's no comparison. I'm sorry, Whoopi, but I don't wanna make it seem that she was completely talking out of her ass, because she's lived a long life. She's a lot older than us, so she's seen and lived through a bunch of things. And so she I think part of what she was saying was coming from her past experiences up until now. But yeah, I think living in America as a black person today is a lot better than living in Iran today. And I think most black people wouldn't choose to leave America for Iran today.
Well, Whoopi gonna talk her stuff, and we're here to listen, Whoopi.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And react.
Yeah. Well, that's it for today. So thank you for tuning in to Random Conversations. I'm Danielle.
And I'm Noel.
And we'll see you next week.